Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with part 15 of our MotoGP 24 Let's Play. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Motorrad Grand Prix von Österreich, otherwise lovingly known as the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. We had a lot of fun from Silverstone. Admittedly, it wasn't a particularly good race for us, but obviously, yeah, we're still getting back into the routine, getting back into the swing of things. Taking a look at the championship standings for Rossato now, a dominant 51-point lead at the top of the table. There are still just 12, though, covering us from Tatsuki Suzuki, who is a little bit further up. Moto 2, it's still Vietti ahead of Masia, and then MotoGP, it is still Jorge Martin with a 35 lead over Bagnaia as well then, so plenty still yet to be decided over the course of the rest of the season. If you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 3k subs on the channel at the moment as well. Then it looks like we've got a few messages as well there. Tatsuki Suzuki actually hyping me up despite the contact we made, so we'll try and keep things friendly between us and him there as well. But yeah, let's return though here to the Red Bull ring. We're racing for technically a Red Bull team, so hopefully that's a good omen.
Welcome to the Austrian Red Bull ring. We're live for the second practice session in the Moto 3 class. Only the first 14 riders in the combined standings will go directly to Q2. All the others will have to fight for the 4 remaining places in Q1.
We'll make our way then out onto the circuit. Of course, I was already aware that this track is slightly different to the variant we get in Formula 1. Obviously, we've already seen the new chicane they've implemented. Hopefully, obviously, just to try and curb speeds at the top of the hill there. That very scary near miss. I believe it was Valentino Rossi, wasn't it, a couple of years ago, where someone, accidentally flew up the inside there and almost took him clean off his bike. I think, he would have been lucky if he genuinely would have been lucky if he was still alive, had that actually connected with him. So, the MotoGP, they always kind of draw that fine line. Motorbike racing is just inherently dangerous at the end of the day, more dangerous than pretty much any other motorsport, I'd argue. But yeah, hopefully this weekend we can avoid any kind of scary moments like that. We need to try and return to the top 10. We've only had one top 10 in the last 4 rounds, which came back at Assen. So that's the goal today. But of course, first of all, get through free practice. We go from Silverstone last weekend then, which is probably one of the longest laps on the calendar. We head here to Austria, which is probably one of the shortest laps on the calendar. Yeah, this track, though, I've got to give it credit. It suits pretty much anything, whether it's endurance racing, Formula 1, even motorbikes, everything works beautifully well around this venue as we try and shut the bike through the final couple of corners. Gets close to that apex as you dare on the inside there. Allow the bike to roll off the corner quite nicely. Obviously, you're setting 1:05s in Formula 1. It's 1:44s in Moto 3. Well, I always want to believe if we come to a circuit and immediately feel confident on the bike, then hopefully that is going to be a good showcase of things to come. Tatsuki Suzuki immediately down into the 1:43s. I would expect 42s to be the competitive pace here. So we need to find at least another second and a bit. What's very interesting as well, just watching the lap times slowly tick by. We lose most of our time in the first half of the lap. Once we get out of turn 4, we're pretty much even with the top runners. So clearly we're just lacking a little bit of pace through that first section. I mean, you can really just use the curbs through this final part of the circuit. As we make our way out the final corner, though, I think we should safely be through into Q2 anyway. But we will find another half a tenth or so. Well, there we go then, taking a look at our final results. One of the first times ever in this game that Free Practice 1 and Free Practice 2 times have been pretty similar. For Rossato, though, he seems to have about 3 tenths in the back pocket over everybody else. Then we've got Alonso, Esteban, Suzuki, and Via that are all pretty close. And then it's everybody else. We want to try and get into that top little group, though. I'm still kind of aiming for a top 3 in the championship. My kind of thought process is if we can do that, then I think we should be okay to move up to Moto 2. Everybody else always seems reluctant to make their way out onto the circuit for qualifying. I have no such worries. We're pretty much always the first one to try and get lap times on the board, and that doesn't worry me too much. But it normally does give all the others a little bit of a benchmark there. Turn 1's a little bit odd. It kind of thinks you need to brake twice, which is a little bit peculiar. But yeah, when you get this place hooked up, it is super satisfying. You know, I still feel like I went back and watched the first video we did on this game. I'm definitely still way better on this game than I was to begin with. So I'd love to try and carry that confidence through and not immediately go and invalidate my laps. What's annoyed me is the rest of this lap's actually felt pretty good here as we make our way out of the final corner. Even if it's not a clean lap, hopefully it's going to be a decent benchmark for us, so we know there's pace in the bike. 43.2. Yeah, that is a good improvement. But yeah, for Rossato, I'm sure we're going to see probably close to the mid-42s. While making our way then down in towards the final couple of corners. 44.3. Yeah, there you go. Immediately has been shattered by Joel Esteban, who's our first rider back into the 1 minute 42s. A little bit wide. Down in towards the penultimate corner. This lap's actually felt pretty good, though. Again, we're seeing improvements here as chucking it through that curbing. Hopefully that's not going to invalidate the lap time. We were very, very cheeky on the exit. It is going to be a 42. A 42.968 there. 16 thousandths slower than Joel Esteban. And it would not surprise me. I'm going to still circle around and do more laps. But it would not surprise me if we can find more than that. So we just nicked the red. That is the track limits through turn 1. And another lap is going to have to go to waste. I mean, it is all just about trying to find what you can get away with and what you can around this track. Because if you don't, the AI will. We've seen how many track limits, warnings, and penalties they pick up in races. So you make our way then down the hill. So you can get away with it there, but it's very, very bumpy on the exit of the corner. Oh, just straighten out the bike a little bit too early. How much? I did not know you could get away with that much. Down towards the final couple of corners. It's a shame it's not really beneficial. 4 minutes left on the clock, though. Unless we can find something really fast, I'm not sure we've got enough, as that is not the line. Damn it, man. That is a nasty, nasty high side. Luckily, we should be able to still roll off that final corner and go for another one. Come on, again, out of that final corner. It's going to be another improvement, but it's not going to be enough, though. We're going to close in the gap on Esteban. We're further away from the guy behind as well. How much of an advantage have us top 4 got? And why do I just end up always P4? Well, there we go then, the end of qualifying, and it is for Rossato that takes the pole on a 142.1 there. 8 tenths between ourselves and Ortola behind come the end of the session. But yeah, our fight today has got to be with the riders in front there. Bizarre qualifying. Colin Vire only good enough for P12 in the end. So, of course, when we're not in the fight for pole, he can't seem to deliver. But can we survive turn 1?
Good morning to all you MotoGP fans. The famous Red Bull Ring Bull is watching over this circuit, which is about to be the stage for the Austrian Grand Prix. In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the Moto3 race. Our director takes us to the starting grid, where riders are trying to maintain their concentration before the start of the race. It's overcast and temperatures have dropped. Many riders tried softer compounds during this morning's warm-up, and it seems that the most popular choice on the grid is a medium front and a soft rear.
Well, having a look then, our team want to go all softs around the bike at the moment. We have got a couple of other objectives this weekend. We need to try and beat Suzuki in this race, and the team also want a top 5. Luckily, there is no chance of rain this weekend, which is absolutely glorious news for us, because yeah, we have really, really struggled in those conditions so far this year. I'd love to get a win. I'd love to at least get a podium. We need a trophy. We need a top 10. Let's just try and get a good race under our belt.
Countdown is on here at the Red Bull Ring. Just a few more moments and we'll see the start of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Waiting then on those 10 red lights to show up here in Austria. And it is going to be a mighty long hold. Finally lights out. And away we go then for Rossato leading Suzuki. We'll get a little bit of a bump from one of the guys behind me. That's very helpful. As we try to look back around the outside at turn 1. Oh, nick the inside curb there. Suzuki getting a little bit squeezed out by our top 2 in the championship then. So I believe that's top 3 in the title. All now top 3 in the current running order. So we make our way through the chicane first time around. Track limits on the exit there are really brutal. Everybody giving it plenty of room, plenty of space on lap 1. It's 8 laps ahead of us. So yeah, it really is one of the shortest tracks on the calendar here, as we'll immediately trying to look down the inside of Suzuki at the top of the hill. This seems to be where the AI are a bit quicker than me. We've got yellows out further behind. A couple of riders there. I think that was Baum getting involved with Kelso and Riccardo Rossi. So, yeah, a couple of those guys often getting themselves in drama. We like to go much slower into that corner and then try and get on the throttle nice and early. Doesn't seem to find us much, but hopefully it's going to tip us in the right direction, as that is not the line down through the first of the double left-handers. We gather it up nicely on the exit. You've got to be confident that the bike will find grip through these turns. So you can see why the AI is so good around here, able to hold it right next to that curb. Oh, around the outside of Suzuki, though, we came together last weekend. There's more contact between us, but this time round, we'll move up to P3 before lap 1 is done and dusted. Looks like Angel Paqueras then has also had to retire from this race, so he must have gone for a fall at some point as well, though. So I think he might be the only one that's completely out of it. Baum seemingly able to keep going there as Suzuki and I. There's no love lost between us two at the moment, is there? We'll try and cut him off through the second part of the corner. He can bully me, I can bully him. We both know what's at stake here. We need to try and finish ahead of each other. It's down the inside at the top of the hill. Oh, he's going to completely mug me off on the way in. But we'll get on the throttle earlier on the way out. This is brutal racing between the pair of us as he picks up a track limits warning violation as well. More contact between us and our big championship rival. It's down the inside. We'll have to try and have a look. Nope, he's going to try and really squeeze me out. But again, surely we can get on the throttle a little bit earlier on the exit. How do they find that grip off of that corner? I will never quite know. But yeah, watching Furusato and Joel Esteban get away. Sorry. Actually, I say sorry. It was kind of on purpose. I mean, the fact that, yeah, Furusato has immediately done a 142.2 straight out of the starting blocks, and Joel Esteban seemingly able to keep up with him, really not good for us. I mean, yeah, I think our battle is going to be with Suzuki behind throughout this race. I mean, yeah, Esteban, he wasn't the favourite early on in the season. Really did take him a couple of rounds to fire up, but he seems to be the one that can take the fight to the championship leader. It's kind of felt like, yeah, Suzuki and I just keep tripping over ourselves throughout a lot of this campaign, but we've still got the pace over all of the other riders behind. Building up a little bit of a gap, though. I would rather not have another lonely race, but I would take a lonely race if it meant P3. I mean, what is that? Esteban now, they've both done 42.1s. Meanwhile, we're in a 43.2, so yeah, they are comfortably faster than the rest of us at the moment. I don't know whether it's track conditions playing into their hand as well. I'm going to try and chase those lap times, but yeah, I'm not convinced we can get anywhere near them. There we go, new personal best for us then on a 142.3. We did admittedly get 2 track limits violations on that lap, but, you know, I guess you gotta, to find the limit, you gotta push the limit every once in a while. Suzuki's still, yeah, just floating around the 1 second mark behind me. Top 2 are now starting to battle. Would be nice to see Joel Esteban really get his elbows out. Maybe that would allow us to close back in. I think Joel Esteban might simply just have the pace over Furusato at the moment. That's what I keep doing. That keeps giving me track limits warnings there. It seems like an oddly strict one for how lax most of the limits are around this track. I don't know whether there are kind of any, clear-cut rules with it in MotoGP. I'm pretty certain in real life they are a lot more lenient than Formula 1 is anyway. Just obviously because motorbikes are a bit more difficult to control. But yeah, we seemingly just struggling still a little bit with them. As that's the curb I said, don't touch, and I immediately go and try to ride over it. Well, it looks like then with 2 laps to go, we've now lost Rueda from this race, and he was, of course, in the battle with Suzuki and I for that final podium place in the championship. Kind of, again, another rider that's benefited from Suzuki and I's constant beef that seems to be going down in this series. Joel Esteban, though, he seems to just have the gap over Furusato right now. Lacked a bit in qualifying, but race pace, he is right there. Final lap then about to start, and we are seeing a big push here from Suzuki down in towards the final couple of corners there. The gap has been floating around the 1 second mark. He had it down at just 0.3 a moment ago. But it's sitting at about half a second, especially with lines like that by me. I'm going to allow our rival to close in even more there through the final couple of corners. That curbing on the outside is really odd, because it basically feels like a proper, road curb on the outside if you drop off the edge there. 42.3, fastest lap for us, was not far off the fastest that we've seen set today. I certainly don't think we're going to go any quicker though right at the end of this one. But yeah, Joel Esteban, for the first time in quite a while, just seems to have had the legs over Furasato. I believe he's won, I think, all of the last kind of 3 or 4 rounds of this season. Certainly has won the 2 since we returned again back at Silverstone and the Saxon Ring. But yeah, Joel Esteban, just reminding him once again, yeah, he's got a championship buffer, but no, it is not going to be easy to the end of the season. They're really, really careful up top of the hill over that curb. And once again, Suzuki will just close in a little bit more. This is the danger corner, though. This is the one we've got to be careful of, because Watley's got to be so close. There you go. Yep, he has got a long map penalty. That was not the line I intended on doing down in towards the final few corners. You can just see there again, Suzuki closes in as he tries to rake deeper into the corner, but he will lose a little bit of time on the exit. Oh, don't fall off now, please. And a big, almost high side moment, as we just want to try and hang on to the bike in towards the final few corners. We lost to Suzuki in that 4-round spell in the championship. We needed to prove once again, not only to the team, but also to ourselves here, that we've got the pace to fight in. We've had a terrible run of form ever since Kazakhstan, but finally, yeah, playing the game more reliably, who would have thought, has made me better once again through the final corners. Joel Esteban is going to win here at the Red Bull Ring. Furasato will come through for P2, but on a Red Bull-backed bike, we are going to be returned to the podium this weekend. It's P3 here in Austria.
Let's take a look at the final results of this Moto3 race. The riders are returning to the pits and we'll soon join them in Parc Ferme for the usual post-race interviews.
Well, I didn't realise then just how much of a gap Suzuki and I built up over Ralston in P5 there. But finally, returning to the podium in this series, I'm very, very happy with that. Ivan Ortola in 6th ahead of Via Holgado and Zuratuza, then with Stefano Nepa rounding out the top 10. Watley picked up a long lap penalty when all is said and done. And yeah, just Paqueras and Ruida failing to see the checkered flag. That means in terms of the championship, we are 9 points back now from Suzuki. We re-jump Ruida in the overall standings as well. The Holgado moving up the order as well, up into 11th place with some good points there. And Ralston as well, getting the jump on Joel Kelso. Constructors-wise, we don't tend to look at it very much, but we are 2 points back from Red Bull KTM AJO. I'm probably butchering their name. So we would like to be, you know, the top Red Bull team come the end of the year. 1 point in it between Honda Team Asia and Liqui Husqvarna Intact GP. I'm butchering names. I apologise for that. Thank you all so much for watching, though, and we'll be back very soon with more MotoGP 24.